One of the most beautiful videos I've seen today is this one. Just pay attention, the old man praying in the Kraal before the grandchild is going back to the city. And there is a reason why he is in that Kraal. I will speak about it later. There she is. This is their goodbye. Now, let me put it this way. African spirituality is deep and it's beautiful. Yes, it can be dark. Yes, it can be misinterpreted. Yes, many can speak about it. We are all learning. We are all understanding it, how we are understanding it. As you see him praying in the Kraal, a Kraal is the most sacred space in the family. That's why even when we start a family, we start a family by exchanging cows, which will go and stay in that Kraal, which is a sign of a covenant, a partnership, an agreement, and a deal that we have traded with this livestock, which is from our family to your family. You will look after this livestock, you will take care of it, and it will also take care of you by growing. You will have meat, you will have milk, and you can later trade with it, or you can sell with it, so that you can also increase your family by exchanging with this currency. It's a spiritual currency. It's where the ancestors are all gathered. The same way you see in other churches, you hear about a certain temple. You hear about a certain room. You hear about a prayer room. Even in offices, you hear about a boardroom. You hear about certain places that not an ordinary person can get into. Even in the African spirituality space, we can all pray everywhere. But there is moments whereby the elders or the leaders has to go to the Kraal and speak on our behalf. That's the reason why even spiritually, when other prophets wants to go deep and find solution, and they are praying and they are asking God for certain clarity, and they cannot get the prophecy or they cannot get the solution, they always go to the Kraal. Again. Because of they want to go deep into the roots and communicate. That's the reason why the other church that you know, it has that term that you will hear people saying, without speaking too much. Even if you can go back to the biblical times, you will remember Bethlehem. You will remember what happened at Bethlehem. Even if you can go back to the biblical times, you will remember what they call the altar, alitara, a space where only a priest will go in and speak on the behalf of the entire congregation. So this is not new. Leshaka is one of those places that we are holding it high in African spirituality. There are so many things which are done there that we cannot even speak on the social media. And that's why The old man doesn't pray in his bedroom or in the sitting room, because there are so many things that they do in the room. There are so many things that they do in the house. So he needed a sacred space where he can walk as an older man and speak on the behalf of a grandchild. That your grandchild is preparing to go to the city. She will meet different people, different tribes. She will need your guidance and your protection. Protect her against all the accidents which are happening on the roads. Guide her. The old man will say all the things that he has to say exactly the same way the priest will speak to God on the behalf of the people. So even in African spirituality, there was a way of Africans or our ancestors communicating with God. They were using a kraal as a sacred and higher place where they can access God if they can't go to mountains or caves. The mountains and caves were places where they can go which are far, but they were open for everyone. But the kraal is only sacred for people of this family. So that's why as an elder, he has a right to go there and speak on the behalf of his entire family. And you will remember that back in the days, even when you are leaving home or she is leaving home, they will always give her something. Food, maybe bit of morojo, maize meal, or they will always pack some of the stuff which is food in her bag so that she will have abundance of food wherever she's going. Others will also go extra mile by giving you at least a small bottle of water, at least a 1 liter bottle of water, and they will oftenly say, you must drink this water and mix it with the water of where you're going. They were saying they're doing that so that they can prevent a child from sicknesses, simply because of provincial to provincial water differs. To other provinces, water is salty, while other provinces, water is not salty. So they were always mixing water from two provinces so that you will have good health. But now, because of we are older, we start to understand the power of water. That it wasn't because of maybe the water of other provinces were salty. They knew the power of water. That's the reason why in many occasions you will see somebody who traveled from far, maybe arriving to a certain family, and when you want to buy a drink for that person, or maybe you want to make a cup of coffee for that person will just say, please give me water. Because of they understood the power of water. So African spirituality is deep, man. It just needs us to understand how it is. Unfortunately, many people went dark. And it's difficult now to differentiate the beauty of African spirituality. Because you will understand that when the old man is praying this way, when the old man is communicating with the ancestors or communicating with God via the kraal, it explains why even in the biblical times, you will hear God wanting what we call a setlhabelo, a sacrifice of an animal. Why animals are so important. Why are we so connected with animals? Every time when they go to the altar, you will see that there must be an animal. Why is animal so important to God? And we're just quickly reading, the Bible, and now you will hear many saying, now Jesus came, and now that offering of an animal is no longer exist now because of he went to the cross on the behalf of all humankind. So there is no need because of he is the highest sacrifice. He is the biggest, the ultimate. So there is no need for any after that. That's the New Testament. And after that, you must understand that after the ultimate sacrifice, what we have now is the gospel, whereby we get the teaching, and we're all waiting for the judgment day, like it's done. So the old man, he is still keeping the old way of communicating. And even in African spirituality, these are the type of stuff that I look deep into and understand that Africans have never been too far from God. They have always been closer to God. They have always been doing the right things from the get-go. They knew these things. When I always talk about the wisdom of the elders, they knew these things. They knew exactly what to do. And they were doing these things before we can say the introduction of the Bible. They have been going to mountains, rivers, and caves before we hear about Elijah, before we hear about Moses and others. Obviously, as Christians, we can debate about, Ethiopian Bible, we can debate about was Christianity in Africa before it goes to Europe. We can have all these debates about a lot of stuff. But when you look at us as Africans, you will see that we always knew the power of God. And we always connected with nature, because nature is the beginning. And you will always see that so many things that we grew up being taught by the elders, the Western medicine is actually adopting to things that we grew up doing. You can look at a lot of stuff, man. I saw this other video of the other doctor. She's the Western medicine practitioner, asking people why you guys do this, cleansing. Why you guys do spade and you making a timing run. What do you actually want to achieve? Because of when you come to us, you're expecting us to stop what you guys are causing, and I'll make a video next, to show you that there is always a propaganda. There is always a way that many are doing to shut down what has been working so that they can introduce something which is new. Before we can use the alitara and stuff like that, you understand, Hore, before the buildings of these things, animals has always been there. And animals has always been one source that connects human beings with God. And that's why Africans always prefer the animals, so that they can communicate, they can speak with God. And when he just did that, there is so much which is happening in the Kraal, because this is social media. Of course, we're just sharing bit by bit information that we do have, so that we can every day have videos, we can have content, we learn what we learn, we take what we take, we live what we live. That's what it is. That's the beauty of social media. God must give me power so that I can fulfill the dream of writing a book about African spirituality.